And here we go, guys, on Cloud Kingdom. It is game number 1 between our Terran players here in the first match today on Tournament of Champions. And our first Terran player we'll take a look at in the green from the team Fnatic. It is Rain. And up at the top of the map in the red from the team Evil Geniuses, it is PuMa.
You know, Fnatic added in Raid Call as well as a sponsor.
That's
hence the FnaticRC there. But it's always funny to see the players that are trying to like jam everything possible in the beginning of their name before their actual name comes forward. So good for Rain. He was able to fit that through. But that may be the character limit, I think, actually, on names.
Yeah. Or it could be like FnaticRC.Rain.
FnaticRC.Rain.
One of the two. Pretty sure it is just RC, though. You're right. They did have that Raid Call tournament recently as well, so their tags are reflecting that. And so TVT on Cloud Kingdom. It's a 2-player map, obviously, so the players are going to know where each other are right away. That's going to obviously affect how they do their builds here. It's not really the biggest map ever as well, so it's not like you can play too greedy on it. And lately, we've actually been seeing a lot of longer one-basing play in TVT. And so we're going to... I'm kind of curious to see if we're going to see that some of the games here today. Maybe not this one, but it seems like there's been this resurgent of, like, longer one-base play before expands lately.
And let's see here, as PuMa actually bypassing gas, it appears for... Well, let's see if he gets that. It was a little bit later with his SUV, but no, he is going to bypass it, and Rain getting that on normal times. It's especially interesting given these two players. These two are very versatile players. They're very, very good at early game pressure, flipping on that kill switch, knowing when to just kind of go for the throat, but they can also go into those macro games as well. So we'll see what ends up popping out here as PuMa looks like he's going to put down an expansion pretty quickly.
Yep, going for that fast expand build, and because it's a 1-Rax expand, it's still fairly safe. There's a lot of ways you can play defensively out of that, and denying the SCV scout as well. Rain does not want PuMa to have any sort of information early on in this game. Oop. Not even finishing that supply depot, too. Yeah, and that's got to make PuMa wonder. He's like, all right, what are you trying to hide here?
Well, let's see here now as PuMa back on his side of things. He's about saved up for that next command center, less than 100 minerals away, and he is walling that off as well. Even as a Marine down at the bottom, just to ward off any future scouting. This SUV was able to get in and see the front wall, but that's about it. And proxy factory coming out of Rain.
Yeah, and I wonder if this is going to be a Thor rush. It'd be interesting if it was. He doesn't have a second gas yet or anything like that. He could just be, of course, proxying his Banshees really, really close here and kind of building the factory out there. That'd be an interesting way to do it, but I don't know. I just, like, I'm crossing my fingers for a Thor rush just because they're so much fun. Oh, no. The Marine, though, from PuMa, he's going to scout it. Oh, he finds the factory. Oh, disaster for Rain. It's not even going to finish.
Wow, you'd have to get another SUV all the way out there. Yeah. Just cancels it outright. We'll see how he actually wants to move out of this, as there is a reactor popping down on his barracks back at home. Now, I would be remiss. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about, you know, our ops manager here for StarCraft 2, Frank. And he was talking about recently, so many Terran players in TVT on the Korean server have been going for proxy Hellions and proxy Marauders, and so it looks like we were about to see a glimpse of that, but PuMa was able to shut it down.
Yeah, we can only imagine what it could have been at this point, and he still may go for something like Banshees here too. And, you know, it's not going to be slowed down all that much. It's a little bit of a blow, but not a huge deal, and he's actually going to expand out of this as well. So Rain having to change things up a little bit early on in his game, and PuMa just kind of playing defensively. Obviously, so far we've seen some really good scouting from him.
And does have 3 barracks down, so going to favor a little bit of bio play here as well. And we'll see how he wants to follow that up. He just moved directly into that Marine tank phase. And Rain actually going to go ahead and still produce a good number of Hellions as he is swapping the factory onto that reactor and building a tech lab right next to the starport. He does have a ton of gas saved up. It would be very easy for him to move right into Cloak Banshees.
Oh yeah, and that's probably what we're going to see here, like you mentioned, with the amount of gas saved up. He is going to be able to get a little bit more map control, at least with those Hellions, but, you know, obviously with that bunker there that PuMa has that is natural, Rain's not going to be able to break in or anything like that, or if he does, he's going to, you know, take quite a bit of damage on those Hellions by doing that. So PuMa's kind of free to do basically whatever he wants right now, and look at this, getting that engineering bay as well. He's going to start with that +1 weapons upgrade for his infantry pretty soon here, and that's going to keep him even safer against the Banshees that are coming out now from FnaticRC.Rain.
And PuMa, he's deciding not to throw down any sort of a scan, despite the fact he has an extra orbital command as well. Just has a pretty good beat on what his opponent is doing apart from that. SCV not going to be able to get into the base, and those Cloak Banshees are going to hit here pretty soon.
Yep. Don't think that PuMa's too worried about it, so we'll have to see if Rain does any damage at all. PuMa's getting his factory now as well. 2 more reactors on those barracks too, so yeah, I think we're going to see some pretty heavy bio medevac play here. And has he started adding any Marauders on yet? I don't believe he has. Normally at this time you just want to keep adding Marines because of that possibility of Cloak Banshees, but as you can see there, the Marine count is high enough that he can take the time to put the reactors on.
And we'll see if he just decides to move into medevacs, power off of a lot of Marines for a while, or he's going to move into siege tanks pretty quickly. And taking a look around, we have a couple of missile turrets being put down. One at the very back to catch those Banshees a little bit early, the one at the natural being put into the mineral line.
Yep. The PuMa Man. He is the PuMa Man. I don't know, I love that episode. That's what I always think about whenever I see PuMa. Well, Sand Cedar 3000.
We'll see if the PuMa Man has what it takes here.
His father was a great PuMa Man on the Andes Plateau. Somebody out there is getting that. I know it. I just know it. Banshee is in and not doing any damage, kind of as we expected here. PuMa more than prepared for this.
Yeah.
And the Hellion's not able to get quite past that bunker as well. He's going to come in and try this again.
Yeah, Banshee sneaking his way up, and the middle of the base wasn't all that well defended with detection, so it forces a scan out of PuMa, but he is sitting on 2 orbital commands, so not going to be the worst thing in the world for him.
Rain's going to be going back out of this, it looks like.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, just looking at the production queue. Oh man, 2 scans from PuMa and not killing that Banshee. That could be a little bit better.
Yes, we'll see if he has to use another one here. He's trying to put up another missile turret. See if he can stop the construction of that. It's only 1 shot away from killing that SCV. But nope, the missile turret is up, and this Banshee is going to have to go away. Looks like he's trying to make his way back in, but he's going to come under fire from the missile turrets. No, actually just staying out of range, but he's still within detection range.
If only he had rushed for high-sec auto-tracking, right? Yep, that would have saved him a lot.
What could have been? Oh,
I know. You know, so many games, I'm like, they should have just rushed for high-sec auto-tracking. They wouldn't have lost that supply depot. Yep.
That's critical. I think that's game-changing right there.
Oh. You know, it's tough. Oh, but the Banshee flying into the turret anyway. Whoops. That's called out of the frying pan into the fire. And the fire is coming to Rain now.
Oh, God.
Force moving out.
But can he put it out? Can the Rain put it out?
Well, PuMa didn't start the fire. It's been always burning.
Ooh, since the world's been turning?
That's right. Since Cloud Kingdom's been turning. I don't know what it really turns, but
the world, as the world turns.
Right.
Now we're just bouncing to soap operas, and these references are getting a little too weird. All right, well, the Rain's going to get cleared up next to the Selnaga Tower. Rain does have a pretty good number of units popping out now. 3 factories down, producing a good number of tanks. Can those... Okay, no. He was just, one tank was trying to make its way into the bases, one was trying to make its way out, and they just butted heads for a while. It's what created a really weird pathing and running back and forth.
It's a bit awkward.
Yeah.
So Rain's going to be pretty well set up to meet this attack. He's got the tanks, as we just saw, on the high ground there. So we'll have to see how much PuMa decides to really commit to something like this. I think he's probably going to sense that the siege tanks are there and pull back, if he even decides to push in at all, and it looks like he might just be content to pull back after kind of showing Rain that he was out there on the map. Oh, I like this by PuMa. This is such a cool thing that a lot of bioterns decide to do, is just try to expand off weird places. Just because, although you do have some mobility with the Hellions, as you can see, only not those Hellions. They're dead now.
Wow.
It's tough to kind of scout all around the map when your opponent is being good and active with their bio forces.
Yes, and as you can see, the map control is pretty complete for PuMa. Let's take a look at his vision. Yeah, he has pretty much every attack path. You'll have to watch out for some airplay, but that's about it. The sensor tower is certainly warding away PuMa for at least a little while, as he's going to try and get close to the high ground here.
Oops.
Oh, already taking siege tank fire, though. Don't think he was expecting that.
Yep. Just kind of playing it safe, going after that missile turret here. There's a Viking, though, so... Oh, there it is.
There we
finally got it. He's like, oh, this turret takes forever to kill.
Yes, it does.
So supply right now, pretty even for both of these guys, and the longer that Rain is kind of allowed to survive and kind of sit there, the harder he'll be to break. So PuMa, you know, we can already see how he's responding to it. He's making a couple more command centers and just getting his economy really, really moving here. He wants to have a ton of production so that when Rain does finally move out with that strong mech army, PuMa's going to be able to trade efficiently with it and reproduce his army fast enough to kind of whittle him down over time.
Rain putting up a couple of extra command centers himself, though. An orbital command dropping on this one. We'll see if he decides to planetary fortress this one here in the pocket. It is exposed to a lot of different attack paths, so that can be helpful for Rain. Supply is pretty consistent between our two players, but PuMa has been investing in a ton of infrastructure and upgrades for the past couple of minutes.
Yep.
Still has a pretty good number of units. Oh, bye-bye, Marine. Whoops. That's going to get torched.
Well, he did his purpose.
Yes.
Yep.
He did.
PuMa's still kind of the king of the middle of the map here. He's got his third and fourth bases up and running now. The fourth is just kind of getting saturated here. So his economy is going to take a nice little bump.
And all orbital commands as well. Oh, Rain, is he specifically building a defensive planetary fortress? It looks like he is.
Yeah, definitely going to be a defensive planetary for Rain. Does he have an engineering bay, though?
That's,
I believe he...
actually a valid question.
I don't know. I don't know if he does. He does.
Yeah, he does.
Okay,
there it
so
is.
he can make that planetary when he wants to then.
2 nukes
And,
coming up now
I like this. Yeah.
for PuMa. He's going over to personal cloaking as well, so these ghosts are going to be able to inflict a world of pain in a bit.
That's cool. That's an interesting response by PuMa to go for a nuke so quickly in this game. Usually that's something you see come out a little bit later in these types of TVT situations, but PuMa just going for it right away.
Yeah.
He's just going to plan to try to push Rain around the map with those nukes, get his tanks to unsiege, and then run in and maybe snipe off a couple.
Not a bad idea, and he's not even trying to contest the air game right now. He's sitting on his medevacs, not producing any Vikings whatsoever. He's going to rely on his superior firepower on the ground and that those nukes to position his army.
Now, Rain has lost quite a few Hellions here, and when you play mech, you need a nice big buffer of Hellions to kind of essentially soak damage so that your opponent can get a lot of hits by your siege tanks, and looks like this Hellion's going to kill a couple gather units, maybe get the mule. He does get the mule, but yeah, so the lack of Hellions in the composition of Rain right now is going to kind of come back to haunt him when he eventually wants to move out. He's making 3 at once now, actually 5 at once, yeah, so he knows that he's trying to catch up in that Hellion count before he tries to push out or anything like that. It's a good move by FnaticRC.Rain.
Personal cloaking almost done here, but the missile turret coverage is pretty good for Rain. I mean, it's going to be difficult for the Ghost to be able to get in there and do some damage, and I don't care how good Marauders are against Hellions, that many is not going to be successful. Here comes our first cloak Ghost, though. Looks like we may have a nuke here in just a bit, but he's going to be well within detection range.
Yeah, he actually is. He stopped right within the range of that turret, and that Ghost, I don't think is ever going to live to drop the nuke, although Hellions don't do extra damage to it.
No, they don't. He is!
Oh, it's actually going to land.
He's going to get the nuke down. All right.
He does.
A little surprising. The Ghost is still alive.
Wow. Ghosts are fireproof, man. Another nuke coming down.
Yeah, units on the high ground here as Rain is trying to push out, takes control of the Zelnaga Tower as well. The next Ghost is out. It's being surrounded by SCVs, though, and is going to die.
Yeah, well, you know, when jets of pure flame don't do it, tiny welding drills just fine. Oh, big push for PuMa. This may not be a good idea, though.
He was so clumped up. He just took as much fire from the siege tanks as possible. He's got to back up for now. Frustratingly taking out those destructible rocks.
Like, this is your fault, rocks. Oh, look out. It's the SCVs again.
And we all know how dangerous they can be. And yes, they are going to kill the Ghosts once again.
Wow. So mental note, to kill Ghosts, all you need is SCVs. Hellions optional.
Yeah. Rain's looking pretty good right now. We'll see if he can take himself a 4th base in a bit, but he's got a very defensive position. Nukes haven't done all that much damage so far. This is still a very mobile force out of PuMa, so he certainly has what it takes to be able to work his way back in.
Well, Rain's upgrades are so far behind PuMa's too. +1 weapons for his vehicles only now just about finishing, whereas 3-3 is about to get done for Rain. Another nuke coming down here in an interesting position. Maybe trying to get his opponent to move underneath there, I suppose, but a little bit of an interesting spot for that nuke. And Rain is going to push this 3rd, it looks like.
Yes, he is. He's got a good number of siege tanks sitting on the low ground. Point defense drone was set down as well, absorbing a lot of the fire from the Marauders. At the same time, PuMa's making his way down to his opponent's base, but there are a few defensive siege tanks sitting there as well. The bio units haven't been able to make their way up quite yet. There's a nuke that's trying to hit, though, and it looks like the Ghost is going to die before that lands.
Yep, and you know what? Rain is actually pulling farther and farther ahead in this game. He's just been able to catch PuMa in a lot of awkward angles. PuMa with maybe a couple questionable little pushes here, and this nuke play is just not working out at all for our Evil Geniuses Terran player here.
No, not at all, unfortunately. Another nuke had gone off, but it was cleaned up by the siege tanks, it appears, that the scan was there for. So PuMa, he's down by 80 supply. He's got to find an answer right now for this push, and I just don't know if he has it.
Wow, and we know cats hate water, so PuMa already in trouble just from the IDs of these two players in this matchup.
Catches a couple of tanks there, never a bad thing, but unfortunately has no planetaries anywhere on this map, sitting on all orbital commands, and all the mining is going to be taken out there.
Flame-broiled SCVs here. Yeah, a lot of the last of the economy going down for PuMa. And it looks like Rain pretty much has this game on lockdown at this point.
Yeah, he does.
Interesting result here in Game 1. I think a lot of people are expecting PuMa to take this series handily, but Rain not going down at all without a fight.
Kind of a crazy way to get at this as well. It was an interesting start to the game with the shutdown proxy factory. But you know what? I don't know if PuMa's going to be able to break this. No, especially now with that point defense drone that's so effective, and the bio units are just melting away.
Yeah, GG for PuMa. Wow.